Hey class, this is Bill Berry. This is part 2 of our CSC 142 orientation. In the first video we talked about a couple of key things like what's going on in the course, am I learning something useful, is my instructor qualified, what can I expect? The next thing that we wanted to do was talk about what's going on in terms of course materials. So we looked at these and we're going to now jump over to the course website and look at some key things there, and also to look at the course syllabus and make sure that everything's cool there. So let's do a quick review of that. First thing we need to see is that our course, once you sign in and sign up for, so you need to create a Moodle account if you've never done that before, and then you need to enroll in our course. And once you do that, you're going to see that it looks something like this. Now my screen's a little squished, but don't worry too much about that. But a couple of key things that I want to point out here is in terms of the sections, at the very top you'll see some key course materials that are referenced. So for instance, the syllabus and schedule, really important to know where that is and to look that over. There's our course style guide. You're going to see our course overall grades listed here. So the very top things are things that are just course resources that you might need very often. The practice it website where you're going to do your labs, etc. The next thing you're going to see is a weekly entry. So you'll see one here for 4th of April through the 10th of April, and then there's going to be one for each week. And you'll see that you can click on them and open them individually if you like, and you can navigate the courses here. So you can do that. The other thing to note here is next to this on the right you're going to see the course calendar. This is a really useful tool because if you hover over some of the things that you see here, especially you notice this color is related to the course, you'll see when things are due. For instance, on Friday, April 8th, Project 1, Quiz 1, and Lab 1 are all due at 11:55 p.m. So the course calendar is a very useful thing. Now that should match exactly with what you see in the course syllabus and schedule. If you see any discrepancies, let me know, but I tried to carefully to match those things. So it shouldn't be a mystery when anything is due based on what's here and based on what's in the syllabus and schedule. The next thing you'll see is for each week there's typically going to be some materials. The first week there's more stuff, like there's going to be these videos and getting started with BlueJ and things like that, and notes from our orientation. But then typically this is what you're going to see. You're going to see some videos which will do demos. Now these are not going to introduce every single topic. You have a textbook, so you're expected to read the chapters that are assigned. For instance, for this week you're supposed to read chapter 1, chapter 2, and a couple sections of chapter 3. Once you do that and work through some of the examples on your own if you like, you can then watch these demos which will take those concepts and go apply them. That's my desire with the videos. So watch those things and those will be very useful. Also, the videos will give you some end-to-end knowledge, so you'll see the whole thing being developed iteratively. So you'll actually learn something about sort of the process here, and you'll also get into my head a little bit, which helps you to know what's going to be not only on projects but what's also going to be on exams. You'll also see here labs. You will have a couple of assignments, a couple of little exercises to do in labs. Those are mostly from the Practice It website. There'll be a quiz mostly each week, and so you take that online. Then, this is very typical, you'll see instructions in a PDF file which will tell you what you need to do for the project, and then on the project itself, that's where you submit the work. So typically you'll click on that thing, as I will here. It's going to take you to that page, and then you're going to click Add Submission and you're going to upload a file. Very typically you're going to upload one file, which is going to be a Java file, .java, that's a text file. Later, if you have more things to do, you're going to be uploading a zip file or a jar file. So that's how you're going to turn in your projects. And you'll see that all of this is then laid out for you week to week. And again, you can navigate here, so if you happen to dive into one of the weeks specifically, you can always come back here and you can navigate. You can also navigate here by looking at any specific week, so you can click on it here and it'll it'll take you, it'll show you the navigation as well. So you can do that. So this is the main stuff that you need to know about Moodle. The other thing that I want to talk briefly about is these forums. The news forum is one that is automatic, has an automatic subscription for you, but other forums like the discussion forum, and notice there's one forum for virtually every week. If you click on this guy, you'll see that it'll take you to a forum page. This gives you some of the ground rules, but also in the bottom left, you'll see a thing that says subscribe to this forum. You should go click that. In fact, I would say go through the course and click on every one of those, because sometimes students post very interesting questions or discussions in the forums, and if you get email about that, that will help you. You might forget to look at it, and there might be some really good information about what's going on in one of the particular projects or one of the labs. So I highly recommend that you do that, that you go and you subscribe to every single forum. The other thing I want to point out is Moodle has one very specific feature that you may not have seen, and that is you'll see these little Moodle books. If you see this little book icon, like you will many weeks in the supplemental reading, there's a couple things you need to know about that. So let me click on that, and then let's look. The main thing that you need to understand is these are going to each have pages, which is fine, but when you get to the end of the page, you may think that you are done, and the actual thing here is you're not. How do you know that? Well, because in the Moodle book you have a next chapter button. So either at the bottom or at the top, if you see this button, that still means there's more. So click on that, you'll see another page. You'll see, of course, that goes on, and then you click again, and there's yet another page, and then here's how you know you're done. When you're on the last page, you'll see that instead of a next, you'll have an exit book icon that points over and up. Once you see that, you know you've reached the last page and you've seen all of the material. So that's an important thing to know about Moodle. So that's good stuff, and I think that gives you a good overview of what's going on here. There should be plenty of information here. If you have any questions, of course, please ask. Let's take then one other quick look at the syllabus. Now, you noticed that the syllabus was something that you should find very easily here. If you want to find the syllabus, it's the first thing. So you can click that. It'll open it in a PDF file. And again, it should match the calendar that's there. So let's look at the syllabus itself. I'm not going to read this to you, but just want to point out a couple of sections. Talks about prerequisites, talks about our textbook, so get that if you don't have it already. That is required, and there are a lot of required videos on YouTube. I'll expect that you watch those. Talks about the software. We are going to use BlueJ, so you'll need to get that. It's small. If you already have the Java SDK, you just need to get BlueJ. It's a small thing. Most students find that it's just not worth the work to do something else. Just do it this way, and the examples will all be done this way. Doesn't mean you have to, but I think you'll just find it's easier to work in that same environment. You're going to turn in Java files, so in the bottom the bottom line is it doesn't much matter, but BlueJ is just pretty easy, and it has some nice little features that you'll probably want to take advantage of. So it'll talk about course objectives. It'll talk about participation. Here's an important one, and that's grading. How many labs, projects, quizzes, and exams should you expect? And how do I then calculate at the end of the quarter your grade? And this is basically what you need to know here, is that you will take and do this calculation, and this is an example, and then I will post that grade, and what you get is what you get. So look over that grading and ask any questions if you have. So let's see, what else here? Read over this stuff, all good stuff to know. Last page is the schedule. And the schedule is going to tell you the weekly reading. Again, that should mirror exactly what you see in Moodle. It tells you what projects are going to be due and what exams. So this gives you a great reference sheet on what's going on during the course. Now, I don't recommend that you download this thing and consider it final. I don't tend to make major changes, but may make small tweaks, for instance, as we go along. So I will try to alert you to those, but I would recommend that you use a fresh copy, especially at the very end, beginning and end of the quarter, just to make sure you have the relevant current thing. But this shouldn't really change. This isn't the first time I've taught this course. It shouldn't really change much. It should be pretty good. So read over that again, look and see. Notice that our midterm and final are scheduled very specifically. There's a specific date and time and room here, so you'll be expected to show up on that date unless we make other arrangements. Please let me know if you know already that you have a conflict. For instance, if you have two exams on that same day. So look that stuff over. Remember that a syllabus is in some way a contract between you and the instructor. That's what you can expect and how the course is going to basically run. So if something there it doesn't look right, or you have a question, or you want to challenge something, now's the time to do it. And if you really don't like an instructor syllabus, you need to consider whether it's the right section. But I hope you'll find this very straightforward. All right, so that's a quick look at the syllabus. Let's get back to our orientation slides, and so we've covered that. Now we're going to talk very briefly about some fundamental stuff that we need to know going forward, and we're going to talk about Java specifically and how it works with some of these things. But I think I'm going to break the video here, and we'll put that in the third video so that it doesn't get too long, and you can break it up into chunks. So thanks for watching. Again, pay attention to the next video on finishing up the orientation. Thanks.